Hello everyone, my name is Serafi and I'm happy to have you all with me. And today we're going to be playing Charizard. So, Charizard is the next deck in Pokemon TCG Pocket that I want to cover. The primary reason that I want to cover Charizard specifically is because Charizard is an EX deck, but it's an EX deck that is much less vulnerable than other EX decks. And the reason for that is because you have two Pokemon that you want to focus on, Moltres and Charizard. And unlike other EX decks, the main benefit of this deck is that your two Pokemon have different weaknesses. Even though Moltres and Charizard are both fire flying types, Moltres has a weakness to electricity, and Charizard has a weakness to water. So if your opponent's playing Pikachu EX, then your Moltres might be vulnerable, but at least your Charizard can take a hit or two. Whereas if you are playing against Blastoise EX or Articuno EX, then it will take longer for them to take down your Moltres, and by the time that they can get to your Charizard can start one-shotting them. So that diversity will allow you to weather attacks and make plans and be more flexible than if you were, say, a Pikachu EX deck that was going against a really strong fighting deck, or a Venusaur EX deck that was going against a really strong fire deck. So, let's talk about the deck and how it works. When you have a competitive TCG deck list, you are exploiting the fact that you have to open a basic Pokemon. The game is hard-coded. You will always have a basic Pokemon in your hand. Therefore, you are incentivized to run as few basic Pokemon as possible. That way you can guarantee that you have a powerful Pokemon from the start of the game. It's not intuitive. It feels kind of cheesy. I understand that. They could have fixed that when they made this port. They've made several other changes to the way that the TCG works. They could have stated that you needed to have a minimum of like 8 basic Pokemon in your deck or something like that, but they chose not to. So this is the true experience. I suggest that you guys get used to it. So you will always open either Moltres EX and or Charmander. That's great. If you get both of them, then you are starting with exactly what you need. But we are playing 2 copies of Pokeball to make sure that you have exactly what you want. Moltres EX is a basic Pokemon, fire type with 148 health. Its attack is called Inferno Dance. Flip 3 coins. For each heads, you get a fire energy and attach it to one of your benched fire Pokemon. This is very similar to Misty, with 2 major differences. Number 1, it is a repeatable effect, and it doesn't cost your support card slot either. So you can Moltres EX, and then you can Inferno Dance multiple times, and start charging up your Charizard as fast as possible. The other main benefit, which is really, really important, is that you flip 3 coins. With Misty, you flip a coin until you get Tails. And the number of times that I've gotten Tails immediately and just did nothing with Misty is really high. I think it's higher than the number of times I've actually attached energies with Misty. So, if you are doing 3 flips, then the first one could be Tails, but the next 2 could be Heads. And that is 2 more energies that you get off of Moltres EX than you would have gotten with Misty with the same flips. So that's really beneficial to you. Now, Misty can hit your active Pokemon. Moltres can't charge itself up. It can charge up any Pokemon on your bench. But that's still, it's 50-50 as to whether which one is better. But I think Moltres EX slightly out-edges Misty. Next up, it has Heat Blast, so if you're able to attach 3 energies to it, you can swing for 70. That's bad. Don't do that. Charmander, 60 health, Ember, 30 fire damage, but you have to discard a fire energy attached to this Pokemon. Never do this. It's not worth it at all. If your Charmander is forced into the active Pokemon zone, either use that energy to retreat or keep it and don't attack. Charmeleon has 90 health, and it has Fire Claws, which is 60 damage for 3 energies. That is also bad. I think that's worse than Ivysaur. I think Ivysaur is 3 energies to deal 70 damage, and Wartortle is 2 energies to deal 40 damage. So Wartortle can actually attack as opposed to these two. And then lastly, we have Charizard EX. Charizard EX is a Stage 2 Pokemon with 180 health, Slash for 60, and then Crimson Storm, this is the big one. 4 energies, 200 damage. Discard 2 fire energies attached to this Pokemon. So, you do have to use up all of your energies to use this attack, but it will kill anything. Pikachu EX only has 120 health. Venusaur EX only has 190 health. Blastoise EX only has 180 health. What else is there? Charizard has 180 health. You know, there's not a Pokemon that can survive 200 damage to the face. Now, with Charizard EX specifically, you probably want to attach 5 energies to it before you send him in. That way he can detach the cost the first time, and he'll have 3 energies left, and then you can attach another energy next turn and still do it. So you want to have 5 energies on Charizard so that you can attack twice in a row. And with the amount of EX Pokemon in the game, usually killing 2 Pokemon is going to be enough to win the game. So, and Charizard EX, assuming that it comes out first, like it comes out as the initiator instead of like you retreat and send it in, you know, you're not. What I mean is, usually based on how you set things up, Charizard EX will be the first one to attack in the exchange of Charizard and the opponent's Pokemon. At that point, then you don't need to really worry about anything else, because Charizard EX will kill the first unit. They come in, they can't deal 180 damage all at once, and then Charizard EX will kill the second unit. So now, Blastoise EX does deal exactly enough damage to kill Charizard EX with weaknesses if it has 5 energies attached to it. That's probably not going to happen. I don't think Blastoise is going to be like a competitive Pokemon. And I guess if you send out Zapdos EX and flip 4 coins, then you could potentially kill Charizard as well. But I also don't think that Zapdos EX is going to be a competitive Pokemon. So, you really don't have too many weaknesses or counters, other than the fact that your entire game plan is unreliable. But there you go. That's how it starts. So, let's take a look at the rest of the deck. Pokeball to draw Charizard or Charmander or Moltres. Potion as a generic, keeping Moltres alive. Red card. Your opponent shuffles their hand into their deck and draws 3 cards. This is a very useful card to play to try and disrupt your opponent's strategy. As long as they are going at least -1, this is beneficial to you. If you can hit them when they have 5 cards in hand, then this will take them down to 3 cards, which will be a -2. That is more of a loss to them than it is to you for playing the card. So 2 cards is where you really start to see value, and then if you like draw this card while your opponent has like 6 cards in their hand, then of course you just slam it down and you win the game. Good card. X speed. During this turn, the retreat cost of your active Pokemon is 1 less. This is the same thing as when I described Dratini. You basically don't want to pay the retreat cost for your Charmander. So if Charmander is dragged into the main zone, then you can just play X speed at retreat without costing any energies. Send Moltres out, attach 1 energy to it, start heat, Inferno Dancing. Professor's Research, draw 2 cards, and Sabrina, switch out your opponent's active Pokemon on the bench. Your opponent chooses the new active Pokemon. This is very important for Moltres because you don't really attack with Moltres. So if your opponent sends in a Pokemon that can actually threaten your Moltres, then you just get rid of it so that you can keep your Moltres going. That is the main deck. Now there's an alternative version. This version uses Rapidash as well. So it cuts the red card and the potion to play 2 Ponyta and 2 Rapidash. And the benefit of that is that Rapidash has 100 health and it has a 40 damage attack for 1 energy card. That basically, there's 2 benefits to that. First of all, you could be more aggressive. You could potentially, send out your Moltres, start charging up your Charizard, and then potentially, like if your Moltres dies and your Charizard's not ready yet, you could send in Rapidash to actually start cleaning things up before you send in Charizard. And if Rapidash can take out like 1 Pokemon before Charizard has to come in, then that does let you win the game, because Charizard will usually just kill an EX Pokemon and get you your 3rd prize. But it's important to note that Moltres is also an EX Pokemon, so if Moltres goes down, you send out Rapidash, and then you don't retreat with Rapidash, and Rapidash dies, you've lost the game. The other main benefit to Rapidash in the deck is that your deck is more resilient against the enemy Sabrina. If your opponent plays Sabrina while you have Moltres out, and you are forced to bring in your Charmander or your Charmeleon, well, then you could potentially lose before your Charizard even hits the board. So if you have extra basic Pokemon in your deck, you are more protected against Sabrina, because remember, you get to choose who you send out when your opponent plays Sabrina against you. So, you know, it's up to you whether you want to play this version or the other version. I do think that the first version is better, because remember, we're exploiting the fact that we always open a basic Pokemon in our opening hand. In this version, we can open Ponyta and nothing else. Then even a Pokeball won't get us started, because we need Moltres and Charmander. So the Ponyta inclusion will make you win less games, even though the Rapidash makes you lose less games, if that makes sense. So I would rather high roll, to be honest. But there you go. Those are the two ways you can play the deck. My name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.